Part 1: The U.S. border closure rumor and the modern information landscape. In recent months, social media platforms have been flooded with discussions about the claim that the United States has temporarily closed its borders. The rumor, presented as a reaction to political instability or migration pressure, quickly gained momentum and was shared across various online communities. While there is no official confirmation of such a measure, the incident itself offers a revealing lens into how societies interpret, react to, and amplify political information in the digital age. The appeal of this rumor lies in its emotional and symbolic power. Borders represent more than physical limits. They embody national security, identity, and sovereignty. When people hear about a border being closed, it evokes strong emotions such as fear, uncertainty, or even relief, depending on one's perspective on immigration and national policy. These emotions often precede rational analysis, causing individuals to share or comment on information before verifying its authenticity. A key source of confusion comes from the overlapping use of political and administrative terms. The U.S. government has indeed faced a shutdown, a temporary halt of non-essential federal operations due to budget deadlock in Congress. Yet, many people interpret shutdown literally as if the country itself or its borders were closed. This linguistic misunderstanding reveals how easily complex bureaucratic realities can be simplified and distorted in digital communication. Social media algorithms further intensify the problem. Platforms are designed to promote engagement, not accuracy. Posts that trigger strong emotions, especially fear or outrage, are more likely to be shared, liked, and recommended. In this ecosystem, misinformation spreads faster than verified facts, and once it reaches a certain visibility, retractions or clarifications rarely achieve the same impact. The border rumor thus becomes not just a false claim, but a case study in how modern information systems prioritize virality over truth. The socio-political context also plays a crucial role. In the United States, immigration remains a highly polarizing topic, closely tied to elections, economic debates, and national identity. Any rumor involving border closure instantly resonates with pre-existing narratives about control, security, and political division outside the U.S. Such news also triggers anxiety among international communities, particularly migrants, students, and families with ties to America. Ultimately, the U.S. border closure rumor underscores a broader challenge of our era: the erosion of trust and the difficulty of navigating truth in an age of abundance. While institutions have the duty to communicate clearly and swiftly, individuals too bear responsibility to read critically, verify sources, and resist the impulse to share prematurely. The issue is not merely about one rumor, but about how modern societies handle uncertainty and how truth competes for survival in the marketplace of attention. Part 2: Media Ethics and the Need for Critical Literacy in a Post-Truth Era. The spread of the U.S. border closure. Rumor highlights not just a communication problem, but a deeper ethical question. What responsibilities do media institutions, governments, and individuals hold in the age of instant information? In a world where digital content circulates faster than truth can catch up, the boundaries of moral responsibility become blurred. This phenomenon forces us to reconsider how societies should balance freedom of expression with the ethical duty to prevent misinformation. From a media ethics perspective, accuracy and accountability remain the pillars of public communication. Journalists and official agencies are expected to verify before publishing and to correct mistakes transparently when they occur. Yet in the digital ecosystem, traditional gatekeepers of information newsrooms, editors, public institutions no longer have exclusive control. Anyone with a smartphone can now publish news, making the line between journalist and citizen increasingly indistinct. This democratization of information, while empowering, also multiplies ethical risks. The role of algorithms complicates this landscape further. Social platforms are not neutral spaces. They are commercial entities designed to capture attention. Their algorithms privilege engagement, often emotional, polarizing, and sensational content over accuracy or civic value. Ethically, this raises questions about corporate responsibility. Should technology companies be held accountable for amplifying misinformation? Can they be expected to redesign systems that might reduce profit but promote truth? These are not merely technical issues, but moral dilemmas about the kind of society we want to build. In this context, media literacy emerges as one of the most urgent educational needs of our time. Critical literacy is not simply about identifying fake news, it is about cultivating habits of skepticism, reflection, and verification. Schools, universities, and public institutions must teach how to read news with awareness, how to check sources, analyze motives, and recognize bias. Citizens who understand how media systems operate are less vulnerable to manipulation and better equipped to participate meaningfully in democratic life. Ultimately, combating misinformation cannot rely solely on regulation or fact-checking. Ethical communication requires a shared social contract between information producers and consumers. Governments must communicate transparently, media organizations must uphold integrity, and individuals must practice responsibility in sharing and interpreting information. In the post-truth era, ethics is no longer confined to professionals. It is a civic virtue. The border closure rumor in this sense becomes more than a false claim. It is a mirror reflecting the fragility of public trust and the urgency of rebuilding ethical foundations in how humanity communicates truth. The challenge is not only to expose falsehoods, but to nurture a culture where truth matters enough to protect. Part 3. Theological and philosophical reflection, truth, freedom, and the moral weight of information. In the heart of every society lies a moral question. What is truth, and why does it matter? The rumor about the U.S. border closure, while political on the surface, ultimately exposes a deeper human struggle, our fragile relationship with truth in the digital era. In philosophy and theology alike, truth has never been merely factual. It is relational. It concerns not only what is accurate, but also how human beings relate to reality, to one another, and to God. From a philosophical standpoint, modern society suffers from what Hannah Arendt once called the banality of untruth. In the flood of information, truth is no longer denied outright, but diluted, buried under layers of half-facts, interpretations, and emotional noise. The danger lies not in the existence of falsehood, but in the indifference toward distinguishing truth from falsehood. When people stop caring whether something is true, the moral compass collapses. The border rumor is only one symptom of this cultural erosion, where perception outweighs principle. Theologically, truth is not merely correspondence between statement and fact. It is communion with reality as created and sustained by God. In Christian thought, Christ's declaration, "I am the truth," John 14-6, reveals that truth is personal, incarnate, and relational. To share truth is to participate in divine fidelity, to mirror God's own constancy and love. Thus, the act of distorting or spreading falsehood is not only a social failure, but a spiritual rupture. It weakens the bond of trust that reflects God's truthfulness within the human community. Freedom, too, must be seen through this moral lens. The freedom to speak or share does not absolve one from responsibility. Authentic freedom is not the liberty to say whatever one wishes, but the maturity to align speech with conscience and truth. In the digital age, where every voice can echo globally, moral responsibility expands proportionally. To communicate carelessly is to wound the shared moral fabric. To communicate truthfully is to heal it. Philosophically, the crisis of misinformation invites a renewal of what the ancients called phronesis, practical wisdom. Technology amplifies speech but does not cultivate discernment. That is the task of virtue. Ethical communication demands not only intellect but integrity, not only awareness but humility before truth itself. In this light, the U.S. border closure rumor is more than a media event, it is a mirror of our moral state. Whether one is a journalist, a believer, or a citizen, the call remains the same: to serve truth not as a possession, but as a vocation. In a world noisy with voices, truth becomes an act of love, a quiet resistance against the seduction of the trivial. Part 4: Synthesis and Conclusion: Reclaiming Truth in the Age of Noise. The U.S. border closure rumor began as a passing piece of misinformation, yet it has unfolded into a profound reflection on the nature of truth, communication, and morality in modern civilization. Across its political, ethical, and spiritual dimensions, the phenomenon reveals a consistent theme: humanity's struggle to live truthfully in an age where noise often speaks louder than reality. From a social perspective, the rumor exposes how digital societies have redefined the meaning of credibility. Information no longer flows hierarchically from trusted institutions downward. It circulates horizontally among peers, influencers, and algorithms. While this democratization has empowered voices previously unheard, it has also weakened collective discernment. Truth now competes not with lies, but with distraction. The greatest threat is not deliberate deceit, but indifference, a fatigue toward truth itself. As societies grow more fragmented, the public's ability to distinguish between evidence and emotion diminishes, leaving space for rumors to masquerade as news. From an ethical standpoint, this crisis calls for a rediscovery of virtue. Journalism and technology must be guided by the moral discipline of responsibility. Freedom of speech without the ballast of conscience easily collapses into noise. Ethical communication is not about suppressing voices, but about cultivating integrity, ensuring that what is shared contributes to the common good. Each click, share, and comment carries weight. To communicate is to exercise moral power. To misuse it is to erode the very trust that binds communities together. From a theological and philosophical dimension, truth transcends mere accuracy. It is relational and transformative. In Christian understanding, truth is not an abstract concept, but a person, Christ himself, who embodies fidelity, transparency, and love. To live in truth, then, is to live in communion with reality, with others, and with God. Falsehood, conversely, fractures this communion. It isolates individuals in illusions and breeds suspicion in place of solidarity. Thus, defending truth becomes not merely an intellectual or political act, but a spiritual vocation, a participation in divine constancy. What emerges from these reflections is a shared moral horizon. Truth demands care. In an era where information is infinite but attention is scarce, truth requires stewardship, both institutional and personal. Institutions must act transparently. Media must value integrity over immediacy. Individuals must resist the seduction of effortless belief. The U.S. border closure rumor then serves as a parable of our time. It teaches that the crisis of misinformation is ultimately a crisis of relationship between humans and truth, citizens and institutions, freedom and responsibility. The path forward is not through censorship, but through conversion. From consumption to contemplation, from reaction to reflection, from noise to meaning. To reclaim truth is to restore the moral heartbeat of society. In doing so, humanity does not merely protect information, it protects its own dignity.